Next up, we have a panel on Chainlink infrastructure. This is going to be run by Jonas Hals of Fiews. Very excited to hear about building and securing the Chainlink ecosystem. These guys are going to be talking about how it's done and what's on the horizon. Jonas, please take it away.
Yeah, thank you, Andrew. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us for this panel. My name is Jonas. I am a co-founder of Fiews, which is a Chainlink node operator and infrastructure provider. With me today are two of my node operator friends from LinkPool and Secure Data Links. And I think it makes sense for them to just introduce themselves, talk about who they are and what they're doing. Jonny, do you want to start?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, thank you for the intro, Jonas. It's cool to be on a panel. Wheels guys, you know, some of the earliest guys in the ecosystem, and I'm looking forward to just chatting about infrastructure and what we do. But yeah, I'm Jonny, so I'm one of the co-founders of LinkPool, mostly the technical one on the team. So build, span up, and manage a lot of the nodes. We're you know, I had my talk recently. We're an ecosystem provider. We provide like Chainlink apps, staking, infrastructure as a service, and a couple of other things like that. So that's pretty much me.
All right.
Awesome. Yeah, so I'm Ray. Similar to Jonny, I'm also on the technical side of things. So I'm one of the co-founders of both Secure Data Links and Reputation.link. So through Secure Data Links, we do the node operation side of things. And then through Reputation.link or Chainlink Oracle Reputation, that's sort of our block explorer platform. So I sit on the technical side of both of those essentially.
Okay, great. Could you guys talk a bit about how or what role Chainlink plays in your businesses?
Yeah, I mean, like Chainlink is the business really. Yeah, I mean, we set up in back in 2017 as a Chainlink business. You know, pretty much the team always looking at the potential of being able to like develop the ecosystem and build toolings around it. You know, we're very excited about where Chainlink's going, always have been. You know, it's a huge potential. It solves a missing piece of the puzzle really in the blockchain and DeFi ecosystem. And yeah, I mean, it's key to it, and it's just going to be an exciting part going forward.
Yeah, very similar boat for me. I guess we did a similar thing to the guys at LinkPool and essentially formed our company around this whole Chainlink ecosystem. So Secure Data Links brought us together. We all were interested in Chainlink itself. That sort of inspired us to group together and form this, and then, you know, Reputation.link came out of that, I guess. So yeah, very similar vein. Everything we do currently is Chainlink. So it's our lifeblood at this point.
Yeah, just to add to that, it's pretty much the same story for us as Fiews as well. It's pretty Chainlink focused, and that's what got us started. But yeah, I want to talk a bit how it is operating the node. So the current Chainlink price feeds that your nodes are providing data for are securing values for more than $2 billion. I think you said earlier today, Jonny. Knowing how much is at risk, is this changing how you're operating your node, or yeah, can you talk a bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, like for us, you know, we always sort of pitched the LinkPool as a company as, you know, being the first sort of like enterprise focused, like trusted, reliable infrastructure, like really going at it from a professional point of view. You know, our attitude to running and operating a Chainlink node has always been first and foremost of being the, you know, the highest reliability and sort of the best performing node that we can do. You know, when you're sort of saying that, and before it's actually realized and before Chainlink went live, you know, is a difference about thinking about it and thinking about where it's going to be in the future, and then actually being at the point where you're like, oh, hang on, we've got 2 billion secured in contracts that we're helping that we're providing data for. So I think in terms of us, obviously the monitoring is a huge point, especially when gas prices were so high. The quality of the data as well is very important. Like as you know, Jonas, like a lot of the APIs, a lot of the time can be, pretty questionable. I think it's fair to say. So I think just constantly monitoring, being able to make data-informed choices, and really having a full picture of everything that's going on in the network. Obviously, what Raymond's working on is a key piece of that puzzle, is the market as well. But yeah, we've always regarded Chainlink as sort of the future of oracles and like the standard in terms of like the protocol and where it's going to go going forward, just because of the quality of the team that are working on it, sort of the idea behind it and how it was built fundamentally. It's the composability of it is very high, the interoperability. So it's just being able to realize that and then run a node and sort of just make sure that everything is ticking along day to day is very important. So yeah, it's pretty much key to us.
On that front too, I think it's pretty cool to see a lot of these monitoring systems being pretty much put out in the open, essentially, via Slack or whatever channel. So yeah, we've utilized that quite a bit just to make sure we're covering every edge case, because like you mentioned, Jonas, there's a lot of money there being secured. So you want to make sure your alerts are up to date with everything that's going on in the network, essentially. So I know a lot of operators have released some great tools for that, which has been really cool to see.
Yeah, for sure. It's absolutely also scary knowing how much is at risk, but it's also very fun being a part of securing that and helping that grow as well. But yeah, so a future feature of the Chainlink network that's going to be staking. Do you guys think that this will change the Chainlink ecosystem? And if so, how do you think this will change?
Yeah. I was just going to say, I think when it happens, it'll be an interesting dynamic to see come to fruition, I guess. Everyone's talked about it for a while. Funnily enough, I guess that was kind of both me and Jonny's first foray. LinkPool did staking, and we tried to kind of get into that game as well, following in their footsteps. So it's been a while in the making, but I definitely think when it comes out, it'll change the dynamic a bit. I guess the ability to have contracts of even higher value secured through this staking mechanism, with obviously some crypto incentives there to help it out. It'll be cool to see.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. It's definitely been a long time in the making. I think that the dynamics of the network, especially when staking comes out, and if you think of it in slashing terms as well, like at the minute in terms of the price feeds, we need to make sure that every node operator stays up and stays online and is providing data and really good data at that. But when staking comes into play, we're going to be in a situation where if a node doesn't respond, then there's the potential that you could get slashed. And if you think of that in what we was talking about earlier in terms of APIs and sometimes how they're flaky, or the data they return is not that great, or sometimes they just go down and give you bad responses when you actually call them. From our point of view, we're going to be making sure that pretty much any time we're running a feed and we're helping that, we are going to pretty much make sure we never go down, to make sure we never get slashed in the first place. If you think about the slashing mechanism and what can actually happen there, is it really going to take into account for example, if you went down, for example, there's not going to be any sort of nuance to be oh, actually the API went down, for example, so now you're not going to get slashed. At the end of the day, you've got to provide a response. So for us, we're going to make sure that for any one request, you're going to be trying to fetch that same price point from at least as many APIs you can throw at it, really, like double digits of APIs, and trying to get an in terms of actually the quality of data that you respond, especially when staking comes into play. I think the security of Chainlink feeds and the price feeds and sort of any other contracts that is built on the Chainlink network is going to be a lot more reliable, and is going to be a lot more sort of node servicing that contracts. I mean, even outside of like the APIs, if you think about sort of like the economics of it and how it would work. So is the threshold signatures feature that's been talked about a lot on the Chainlink side, and sort of what that's going to do in terms of how the network can scale. So, at the minute we're going from a feed it might have 9 nodes on it, for example. All of them nodes have to pay the gas price and the gas to be able to respond, especially when the gas price again has been ever so expensive. Like sometimes that's it's like $40 a request or whatever, like something stupidly silly. But when threshold signatures come around, then that's not an issue anymore. Only one node is going to be responding with a signed response from all the node operators, and that'll be formed off chain. So when you take that into account, like suddenly you can have one price feed that has from 21 nodes, it could be 2,000 nodes. And then if you think about a DeFi contract that is holding 1 billion in it, for example, if you're thinking about collateral and you was literally just doing 1-to-1 in terms of collateral, then someone is going to expect $1 billion fronted in Link as collateral as well. So if you think about for example, simple example, 2,000 nodes, 1 billion in collateral, then you could think that each node might have to be able to front, $500,000 for that contract. But then I suppose, in terms of the economics, you'd really want, 5,000 node operators on that. So the requirements start coming down for staking. And I mean, that's just a simple example, like 1-to-1 collateral, but it's really interesting to think about, and whether it's like denoted in USD, and even the derivative link tokens as well, and how that will come into play. Whether you can sort of yield farm and stake as well, I think is something that we've been thinking about. It's pretty exciting. Yeah, sorry, I've just gone on for a little bit there, but
yeah, no, it's great. It's great to hear. It's great to hear. Absolutely. But yeah, I want to talk a bit about the grants. So recently, both of you guys have been awarded a grant through the Chainlink grant program. First of all, congratulations on this. This is really great. Can you talk about a bit about what this grant will go to, and how this will help you build in the Chainlink ecosystem?
Yeah, sure. So as Pat sort of touched on earlier, for reputation.link, I guess the first bit of the grant is going to be building out our team. So similar to both of you guys, we're a pretty small team at the moment. And obviously it takes a lot to build great products. So that's where we're really pushing core. We want really, really great people, really knowledgeable people, and people that are just interested in the space, essentially, working with us. So that's sort of phase 1 for core, is getting a team around it that we know can push the product all the way forward. And then, essentially expanding what we offer is the next step. So currently we offer a very Oracle-centric view, as I'm sure you guys have both seen, but moving away from that into a more generalist Chainlink network view. So moving to a more block explorer type system where, we have all the data there, essentially. The data is on chain. We can parse it, we can play around with it, and it's just exploring how to visualize that and how to extract as much information from it for your general user. So contextualizing it, putting it in the right place, all those things, which surprisingly takes a lot of work. So yeah, that's our general plan for the grant, I guess. Just keep pushing core as far as it can go.
Yeah, I mean, we can draw a lot of parallels there. I think for us, the core thing about getting a grant is just expanding the team and being able to bring more people on. I mean, you nailed it, Raymond, when you said, when you need to build out all these tools and services and do everything that you want to, you need a team of highly skilled people to do it. To get the best people, they need to get the good wages to back it up, really. And I think getting a grant and being able to sort of expand the team is critical for us. There's a lot of concurrent work streams. There's a lot that we're doing. Is a lot on the business side and development side, and just being able to get the grant is a huge thing for us in that we can now just look at actually becoming a fully fledged engineering shop that are constantly working, constantly talking, and constantly improving and bettering ourselves pretty constantly. So it's really exciting, and I feel honoured to be able to get a grant received.
Yeah, I can say that I'm really looking forward to seeing what you guys will build with the grant program and everything that you guys have planned. So I'm really excited for that. So I want to talk a bit about something we touched on a bit, which is gas prices. So in the past few weeks or months, we've seen an overall increase in gas prices, even up to 400 gwei for past transactions. So can you guys talk a bit about how these high gas prices have affected your operations, and if you think we'll continue seeing this trend in the future, or maybe talk a bit about how threshold signatures will help this?
Yeah, okay. I'll dive in then. In terms of how it affected us, besides from that original Black Thursday event, which was pretty chaotic in the Chainlink ecosystem, I know you guys were probably there for the whole event as well. So that was probably the major impact on us, especially here in Australia. That was, I think it ended up being like 2 or 3 a.m. till 6 or 7 a.m. So yeah, a hectic weekend there. Since then, it's mainly just been the cost. So essentially we have to pay the gas price and we get rewarded for servicing those requests in Link. And just spending up to, I think our highest day was between 15 and 20 ETH in less than 24 hours just to service all these requests. So yeah, I guess the increase in cost is a big one. In terms of where I see it going in gas price, I think we're only going to see more usage. So until layer 2 solutions really start, coming to life, it's probably going to have periods of congestion on the network. I think it's probably unavoidable at this point. As long as the nodes are responding, we can pay the costs, and I think Chainlink will continue to perform fine. But yeah, there'll definitely be some move to L2 that should help it out, hopefully.
Yeah. I mean, ditto. It was pretty. The change in gas prices from where we were like last year, and I remember we top up our node with like 4 or 5 ETH, and then it had lasted like a month and a half. And it's like, when gas prices have been going so hectic and we're on a lot more feeds, it's like 6, 7, 8 ETH a day, and like you said, Raymond, it spiked up to like 15 a day. I mean, I'd share your views as well. I think it'll get worse before it'll ever get better. It really needs the advancement in tech for it to, I think, improve, especially with DeFi booming and on-chain activity, going through the roof. It's I think gas prices are here to stay, but like we mentioned with threshold signatures, from a Chainlink point of view, though, with us as node operators, it will get a lot better for us, and hopefully that might help gas prices in the future as well, because it's going to be less transactions from us clogging up the network, I suppose. Threshold signatures will change. It'll change the feeds from needing 21 individual transactions to just needing that one. The Chainlink nodes themselves will form a network off chain and have P2P connections with each other and have their own off-chain consensus algorithm, which is really quite exciting, and sort of seeing that come together and being developed is a cool thing. Is some really smart minds behind it, and can't wait to see that come to fruition. I think we're going to see, in terms of gas usage as well, like threshold signatures is, I suppose it's like the finish, like the end goal, the final phase, and we're going to see like a lot more development in that area, even prior to threshold signatures, which should hopefully help gas usage, especially at a time, it's not really calming down anytime soon. It went to like 70 GWh a couple of days ago, and it was like, whew, like a bit of a relief, and then it just like shot back up again, and you're like, all right, okay, it's really not calming down anytime soon. So I mean, you can't think too negative about it though, because if the gas prices weren't that high, then on-chain activity wouldn't be that high, and it wouldn't actually be that many people using the DeFi protocols. So swings and roundabouts, but the tech is growing, and it's still early days, and we're definitely going to see some sizable improvements down the line for this.
Yeah, for sure. I think also that like these high gas prices actually show that there are real usage going on the network, and it's honestly really exciting seeing how robust both the Chainlink nodes and the Chainlink node operators are, being able to power through these 400 GWh periods and just keep pushing data to these price feeds. That's really great to see. But yeah, another thing we touched a bit on earlier as well is API provider reliability and quality. So how does data provider reliability and quality play into your day-to-day operations?
For us, ties a lot into monitoring as well. We have a lot of monitoring on our side that basically observes the Chainlink node, and if we notice any sort of bad data, or we start seeing errored job runs on the node itself, then we're going to get alerted, and we're going to get people investigating into it. I do really feel like people would be surprised how often it happens. How often you have to think about actually swapping APIs and the good providers, even with established, like FX feeds, like for currencies, and how hard it is to get like decent APIs for those price feeds as well, what don't have delay and have a great tick rate and are really good. Like we're there now, but it's just surprising. So yeah, from like day-to-day operations, you just need to make sure that you keep on top of it, that you have the monitoring in place to understand when you start deviating and when your actual like the APIs start failing. And like Pat demoed earlier, Raymond, with what you're working on in like the monitoring and alerting stuff like that would be really cool, like seeing that come into fruition and having like products what people can use for their alerting, so node operators don't need to reinvent the wheel all the time when everyone's sort of doing the same thing. But yeah, I mean, it's inevitable that APIs are going to go down and that is going to be bad data. Like even this happened with like Coinbase not too long back as well, where the API just like flatlined for a period of time. So yeah, you've just got to keep an eye on it and keep on top of it when you.
Yeah, I guess it could also be an area where we see some slight innovations as well. I mean, currently the setup is we're just pointing to one API provider, right? So having fallbacks for that could be something we look into. But yeah, we're in a similar boat. We're at the mercy of the data we get, essentially. So if we get poor data, then there's not much you can do in a preemptive manner at this point. It's usually all reactive. Like Jonny mentioned, just making sure that we're picking up if our node is responding with poor data and swapping it out with another data provider. Yeah, I was definitely very surprised at how often they go down. Even on reputation.link, we've seen quite a few times where there's one or two providers that we've pinged and they just haven't responded for hours on end, which is, yeah, quite shocking at times, but it'll get better, hopefully.
Yeah. The Flux Monitor contracts will be really good for that, because rather than needing to offload it in like adapters, you'd be able to specify loads of different data sources in the single specification. So I know this is something that we're going to look at doing when those start going live. So yeah, little improvements, and we should hopefully be able to manage this a lot better as the tech advances going forward.
Yeah, for sure. And like both of you mentioned, you would be surprised how bad some of the data providers are when it comes to reliability, and especially when it comes to cost as well, I would say. Like you would expect some expensive data providers to be really good, but they are not always that. But yeah, I see we only have a few minutes left. So just a quick question I want to ask. What upcoming development or feature for Chainlink are you guys looking forward to the most?
For me, it's definitely going to be the off-chain reporting, and seeing Chainlink be its own P2P network. That's definitely the most exciting, and what I'm going to be demoing in 20 minutes as well. Just to plug that in.
Yeah, look, I'd probably have to say I'm most excited about that. Just mainly from a technical standpoint, that's going to be pretty cool to see. But obviously staking as well, when that's here, will be another cool thing to see. So I'll chuck in two there.
Great. Thanks, guys. So much good stuff you guys are doing for the ecosystem. I know we all really appreciate it, especially what you're doing to prepare for the future as well as the present.